What's up, everyone? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and today I'm going to be doing a reaction review to the new Top Gun Maverick trailer. But before I get on to that, my channel and my content is not for children, nor has it ever been. So if you are a child, go away now or watch this from a grown-up's account with grown-up supervision. Alright, moving on. Let's go check out the trailer because I'm really excited to watch it. Alright, everyone, I have the trailer pulled up, so let's check this out. I'm really excited.
Your instructor is one of the finest pilots this program has ever produced. His exploits are legendary. What he has to teach you may very well mean the difference between life and death.
Your reputation precedes you.
I have to admit, I wasn't expecting an invitation back.
They're called orders, Maverick.
Today's exercise is dogfighting.
2 versus 1? Hey, you gotta be kidding.
Alright, well, there's a lot to look at in that. I know I wasn't as expressive in this trailer as I usually am in other trailers, but it's been a really long time since I watched the first Top Gun movie. But one of the things about this, so, I mean, for those of you that are familiar with my channel, you'll know I have an art background, but for those of you that are new, welcome. So one of the things that I really like, especially in trailers that I mean, you kind of get the gist of what this movie is going to be about. He's coming back to train the next generation, which I think is a really good idea, and I think that's going to utilize Tom Cruise and, you know, be a good continuation to the story, because originally Tom Cruise was the student. He was going through this, you know, being in the Top Gun, and, you know, he had the opponent, which was Iceman, and, you know, he had his best friend Goose, and, you know, of course, if you've seen the movie, you know what happens. But seeing him come back, and now at the age that he is, and it's appropriate for him to be coming back being the teacher. So I feel like it's going to be one of those straightforward kind of stories. He's teaching the next generation, and, you know, they're learning about him. Oh, he's the legend, and, you know, he's got to train them. So I'm like, okay, so as far as what the story is going to be about, obviously there's going to be twists, there's going to be stuff that happened that they're not going to show in the trailer. So looking at that right off the bat, I was like, okay, so let me look at other things. Let me look for, you know, little Easter eggs or something. But then it's stuff like this. I'm glad I actually got lucky and stopped on one of these shots. So when you're going through and you're doing a shot list, so, you know, you know, usually the cinematographer or the director, they'll go down, you know, they have the casting, they have the thumbnail, so they'll say, okay, here's, you know, storyboarding. For those of you that aren't familiar, that's when you have a script and then somebody draws it out and it's like, this is what this scene's going to look like, this is what this scene's going to look like, so everyone can kind of visualize it. And then you have shots like this. So this, you know, you have a character right here, but then you also, I'm pretty sure this is Tom Cruise. You have Tom Cruise right here, and so this is more of an establishing shot. So this is the introduction to this new scene, and one of the things that you really need to look for in when you're doing an establishing shot is you want everyone to kind of focus in on what it is, you know, you want your focal point to be. Obviously, he is the focal point. And when you're dealing with something like this, it goes a lot of, into value design. So when I do my art videos, I usually talk about this. It's value does all the work, but color does all the credit. So when I talk about values, I'm talking about grayscales. So when you're doing something like this, which is an establishing shot, or any kind of art, when you're just having an image and you're looking at it, you know, frame by frame like this, your eye is going to go to the highest level of contrast. So that's when, you know, you have the darkest value next to the lightest value. So usually, you know, that's when black and white meet. And obviously, even though Tom Cruise is right here and you can see how dark he is, even compared to the ships, he is obviously a shade darker than them. So it's one of those things where you see him first, then you see the two ships behind him, and it adds, you know, that dimension, that scale. So even though he's the smallest thing in the frame, he's the one that you look at first. So this is something that I really like as far as whoever their art director was, whoever their cinematographer was. I can probably go through an IMDb and look that up, but they really understand visual storytelling, and that's something that I can really appreciate here. And the first time, I'm gonna be honest, the first time I watched this through, I didn't see this person, so just when I was watching this, I'm like, wow. And I even how everything is encapsulated, and it even looks like a capsule, so it's framed, he's slightly off center. Usually it's a big no-no to put your focal point in the center of the frame, unless you watch Wes Anderson films. For those of you that don't know who Wes Anderson is, if you ever watch like the Grand Budapest Hotel, the Royal Tenenbaums, Wes Anderson is a complete genius when it comes to framing, and his visual storytelling is off the charts with, you know, everything is centered. So when I look at something like this and they're trying to convey as much as possible within every single frame, especially since this is a trailer, they don't want to give away the entire story. They've given just enough to make me interested in it. I want to go see what Tom Cruise has been doing. I want to see Tom Cruise, you know, his character Pete, go and train the next generation. And I did, some of the characters I did see, you know, and I recognize those actors, and they're pretty good actors. So I'm interested to see, and, you know, even it'll kind of be like watching from the next generation, try to unpill Tom Cruise's, you know, layers and get, you know, down to, you know, what's been going on. Tell us about that experience that you had that we all know that happened, and then what's happened since then. And it'll be from, you know, another generation's point of view, which I think is a really good idea, considering I feel like the goal of the movie is you want us to be invested in the characters. You want us to care about the characters. And when you're introducing new characters that we have, you know, never seen before, and you want us to get emotionally, you know, invested in them and their story, what a better way to do it than have them, you know, trying to, you know, get information or, you know, try to learn about the character that we do care about that's already been established. And so seeing it through their perspective, and then obviously, you know, Tom Cruise, I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume that Tom Cruise is the main character of this movie, so we're going to see stuff from his point of view. So it'll be the students trying to learn about him and try to absorb all the knowledge that he has to pass down, while as him trying to pass it down onto them. So we're getting that care from Tom Cruise for the next generation. And, you know, I'm assuming he wants them to succeed. I'm assuming he wants to teach them, so that way, and also, you know, we know the things that happened to him in the first movie, so he's going to, you know, be very, you know, wary about, hey, you guys, you know, shit happens, you can die. And so we'll see that care from him, and it'll help us get invested in the new characters. So I think this is a really, really smart idea, and it's a really great way for them to handle this, and, you know, a continuation story, as compared to, you know, when you see dumpster shit shows like Star Wars, and how they're just like, oh, well, you know, fuck the old characters, we don't care about them, and, you know, it makes it's a turnoff for the audience. So I think these guys, or girls, I don't know who directed this, but you know, they I feel like it's one of those things where they really paid attention to detail, and obviously look at this shot, and then they also paid attention to, you know, current things that are going on with other movies and how it backfired. And so this is one of those things where it's done right. And I know a lot of people like to draw, you know, similes between you know, Cobra Kai and how to do, you know, stories right that way, and have, you know, the next generation be a continue on, and how, you know, even though you have the original characters, it has the investment in the new characters, and that's the appropriate way to do it. I've only seen snidbits of Cobra Kai, but from what I have seen, I can concur with that statement. And, you know, I feel like I can always just bring it back to Star Wars, that they have set, you know, this the little pathway stones in place for how not to do it, how not to do a continuation story. And just everything that I saw in this, it looks like it's going to be a really good movie. But this shot is just so perfect. This is an amazing establishing shot. You have the main character, the front and center. This is your hero. Got, powerful looking stuff behind them. You got the mist, which leads into mystery. But then you have this where he's entering. I feel like this is like entering the belly of the beast in a way. And then you have this, looming character in the darkness. So I'm like, if you could like seriously, if you switch this out with like Batman or Superman, you have the cape flying, you have these like Superman like spaceships or something behind him, even Green Lantern, and then you have this, like, this is making me think, okay, either he's going to go see the mysterious prophet or he's going into like the belly of the beast to go face off a villain. But this is a really, really nice shot. It's very done well. If the person that ever, the art director that drew this, that designed this, that sketched this out, or the cinematographer, if you ever see this, great job. This is beautiful. Let's see. Oh, see even here, shape design. All right. Highest level of contrast right here. Tom Cruise. You have the white right next to the black. Value contrast. This is where we look first. We see his face. His head's kind of tilting down. What is he thinking about? We have, his hair is kind of blowing back. It's like this entire thing is just, oh my God. Who's the art director? This person is good. This is beautiful. I love it. Let's see, let me just skip through so I can talk about some things. I want to find one shot of the new guys, the new students. Okay. Maybe let's do... Oh, nope, that's too far. Everyone always gives me tips on the controls, and I never get them right. Okay, so we got the students. They're getting introduced. You're going to do this. It's going to be intense. I really wanted to get one where it showed some of those actors and actresses, but Okay, so this guy, the first time I ever saw this guy, I went with my sister to go see, like, the Divergent movie, which, was but I remember he was in it, and I remember thinking, oh, he's, like, such a jackass, and then every other movie I've seen him in, he's actually really, really good. I'm hoping he's not the next Shia LaBeouf, because I feel like that's just kind of how his career kind of started off. Obviously, he wasn't in a TV show like Even Stevens, but just kind of like the big blockbuster movie that all, the teenagers were into, how Shia LaBeouf kind of did Transformers, and then, he kind of did Divergent, and then he's been doing serious films, and I hope, I hope he just doesn't fall off, the train like kind of Shia LaBeouf did. But I don't know, whenever I see him, he always reminds me of Shia LaBeouf because he's a really good actor, and everything I've seen him in, he's one of those guys that, even though he's new and upcoming, he has a lot of dimension to the way that he plays and portrays characters. So even, I remember his character in the Divergent movie that I watched with my sister, he was, kind of that asshole, but it was because, and I feel like he really dived in to his character's background because he was from the society where it was candor, so they always had to be, honest to a fault. And I don't know, there was just something, even though he was like kind of more of a side background character, it kind of stood out to me. And so when I watched him in other movies, like, I don't know, there's just something that I feel like as he gets older, he's like wine, he's gonna age well. And so I feel like it's one of those things also as an actor, the more life experience you have, the more you can add to a role. So I don't know, I feel like this is a really good choice to see him and Tom Cruise together, because everything I haven't seen a movie in, well, even if the movie isn't that great, I've never seen a bad performance from him. Maybe that's just because I haven't seen all of his work, but I'm very impressed with the things that I have seen from him. So I'm looking forward to seeing his dynamic with Tom Cruise. So that's going to be interesting. Maybe he's going to be either, the teacher's pet or the one that's, kind of rebellious, and, Tom Cruise sees a lot in him, and they have that kind of, student-teacher relationship type of thing. This is cool. Every time I see like stuff like this, I just want to draw it. My grandfather, he used to build planes, and he would race them around the world. So whenever I see stuff like this, it reminds me of my childhood, my grandfather. And even on National Aviation Day, which is a thing, my dad would always take me and my sisters, and you got to ride in all these like little planes. So it's not the big jets or anything. They're just either 2-person to like 4-person planes, and it was always really cool. I've always wanted to ride in a cool one. But yeah, and then when I lived in San Francisco when I was in college, they did a Blue Angel show, so it's always something really cool to see. And who doesn't want to fly, right? So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. It's probably one of the reasons why I like space movies so much. But yeah, so they're getting into a fight. So that was that actor I was talking about. So it seems like he's going to be the more rebellious type, and him and Tom Cruise don't see eye to eye because, you know, ego does play a thing when you have two very large egos and one doesn't want to back down from the other. It's going to lead to problems, which is probably going to ensue some drama. So I'm interested to see this because I know he's a good actor, and, you know, obviously Tom Cruise is a great actor. So seeing those two come, you know, head to head, and, you know, Tom Cruise is trying to train him while it's the young one that's, you know, thinks that he's a hot shot and all that, and he's not going to take the advice of Tom Cruise. I'm interested to see. I'm interested. This looks really good. So, yeah, guys, this is what it's like when I enjoy a trailer. But, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If there was anything else that you wanted me to talk on that I didn't touch on, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Make sure you click that little bell. That way you get notifications when I do other videos and live streams. And until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone.